What it do? Good morning, Knicks universe. How are you doing out there? It is your guy Hector, aka Project Nerd HQ, and I'm chilling with my bro, the one and only Phil Porto. Phil Porto, do you have anything to tell these beautiful people before we start the show?
Yo, it's a beautiful morning. Like, be happy. You know, we got a game tonight. We had the draft. Draft. We had the trade deadline, and we got a lot to talk about. We got Alex on the show today. So if you're not happy yet, get happy, because after this intro, we got a lot to talk about.
Exactly, bro. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and let's drop the intro. Let's go. What it do, Knicks universe? What it do, Knicks universe? What it do? KOD Nation, stand up. And all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee. Welcome to this Friday, February 10th edition of the Knicks Morning Brew. I am your guy, Hector, and I'm chilling, like I said, with the one and only Philip Porto. Phil, a good morning, broski.
Good morning, homie. How you feeling?
Oh, excellent, bro. Excellent, bro. I'm happy. We are post-trade deadline. We had a great trade deadline episode last night. That was awesome. Shout out to Ron and John from Still Knick Fans. And shout out to our boys Eddie and Smitty for joining us on the convo, baby.
Yes, sir. It was a lot of fun, man. It was cool to kind of talk outside of just Knick fandom. You know, like we talk Knicks all the time, but being able to like just talk about what we saw throughout the league and what that can even mean for our Knicks, it was a lot of fun to be able to do that. It was a lot of fun to be able to just kind of like chime in and talk about what we saw in that trade deadline, last 48 hours of like cardiac arrest. And so if you haven't watched the episode, check it out. Like there was a lot going on. We had some really cool people step up on the panel. So shout out to like Sunil for coming out and dropping jokes left and right.
Oh, 100%.
And like always, you know, Smitty and Eddie, you know, making their cameos. And it actually took Eddie an hour to drop the F-bomb, which is crazy.
Which is a record. On top of it,
like
shout out to our guy
minutes.
Yeah, it was a record for our guy Eddie, but at the same time, it's something that we were waiting for. I think all of us on the panel was just waiting for Eddie to drop that F-bomb. But before we continue, before we keep the conversation going, I want to shout out the roll call real quick. Blood of the Panther is in the building. My man, Blood of the Panther, what it do? 3 capital S's to the dome. My guy, Sunil, like you said, he said, hit that like button. Jermaine is in the building. Jermaine, how are you doing, family? Good morning, good morning. Chris Joseph is in the building. Nick Nation, we in full effect. But no, last night trade episode, it was special. And I apologize. You know, New York City, we got the noise outside. We can't do it without the noise. You know, we in the city right now. But we got our special guest backstage. Before we bring in Alex, we're just going to play a little warm-up video before Alex comes in. Because, yes, the trade deadline happened. And, yes, the trade, speculations, they went through and was all driving us crazy. But shout out to our man Doug, because we're trying to keep that same energy like we had before. Let me drop the Doug thing before Alex comes in. Send them out to die. Resisted for 48 used cause of size. Ignorance and language is your planet built on lies. The only path to existence is to conquer your demise. Fire death! Burn the past like fire death! It's the last night. Alex, good morning, my man. Good morning, brother.
Good morning, Hector. Oh, good morning, Hector. Good morning, Phil. How you guys doing today?
Good, brother. How you
Awesome, baby.
feeling? How you feeling?
Doing good, man. Got Josh Hart ready to talk about Knicks. It's a beautiful morning. What's there not to be excited about?
Exactly.
Well,
Appreciate you
it
taking
depends.
the time.
You ask Nick's Twitter. You ask Nick's Twitter.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot.
Man.
Apparently, people can find to not be happy about. So it doesn't matter what we did. Like it's always a possibility to be unhappy on Nick's Twitter. So.
Of course, you always got the extremes either way. You got the very optimistic, you got the very pessimistic, you got some in the middle. That's what makes Knicks Nation so beautiful. You got a little bit of everything going.
That's what it is with Knicks fans, Alex. Knicks fans is like an episode of Hot Ones. If you guys are used to watching a Hot Ones episode, each level of wing, it's just each level of Knicks fandom is just more intense than the other one right before it.
That's a fact.
Yeah. No, but Alex, appreciate you, my guy, for taking time out this morning. Obviously, you guys were covering the trade deadline speculation, so I'm happy you was able to wake up because I know you was probably up late last night, Alex, my guy. But appreciate you for taking time this morning, joining us, baby.
Appreciate you guys having me on. I'm ready to talk Knicks, and let's get it going.
Yeah. But before we ask for any questions about the Knicks, Alex, right? Myself and Phil, I don't want to speak for Phil, but as a content creator, right, especially as a Knicks content creator, we always ask, how did you get into the game when it comes to talking about the Knicks, and where was the first place that you went out there to express yourself when it came to talking about this fandom?
Oh man, ask me about the story. Okay, so
we got to get the lore. We got to get the lore, Alex. My apologies.
I love it. It's like I'm playing Destiny over here. Got to get the lore. Got to read everything up about it. You know what I mean? Let's go. So. Been a Knicks fan for all my life. Watched them during the 90s. Just to give you some reference, I live out here in Boston. And, I've always watched the Knicks, love watching the Knicks. But out here, like when I went to law school to become an attorney, didn't have money to always watch them. But then after I graduated, started getting back into watching them, buying League Pass and whatnot. And I've always just enjoyed talking about sports, watching sports. I'm a Jets fan, Yankees fan. That's just nice. How I grew up. My dad, my dad, my dad, like my Knicks fandom. I can relate it to like my dad's Yankees fandom. So I was always around sports either way somehow. But while I started working, I miss being creative. I miss stuff like doing something that like got my creative juices running. And I love talking about sports. And I went to the MIT Sports Sloan Analytics Conference. Or Sloan Sports Analytics Conference. Met a lot of cool people there. George Karl, Sue Bird, Bill Simmons. Got to see Kevin O'Connor, Jason Concepcion. Just saw a lot of like great creatives, people who played the sport, just like all around, just in one area. And I met a guy named Art Rondeau, and big Knicks fan. And also there's an article that was written about him, how he helped Allen Houston improve his shooting, and actually during that time you could find the correlation that while he was helping Allen Houston with the shooting, that's when Allen Houston took off. Knicks make that unprecedented run as an AC, go all the way to the finals, and that from there, like, we bonded over that, discussed that, and talked about how he wanted to get into the game of like being a writer and stuff like that. And he was like, oh, I know many people who transition from law to do that. And from there, it kind of sparked my fire to really want to get into the game. Started my own website, knicksforlife.com. Started dabbling in writing over there. But then I went over to Fansided and started writing for Empire Writes Back, covering the Jets and the Knicks. And then from there, I went over to Hoops Habit, another Fansided blog site. Nice. And while I was over there, CP, shout out to CP. CP's a great guy, truly like a brother to me. And he just reached out because I always was tuning into the show. I love what they were doing. I love that movement. I love what it stood for. Him and Jay Ellis would tune in after. I was watching during those times. I was needing something to just for entertainment, something to enjoy, and just like come together as a fan base. When we moved out of Boston, man, like, even though there's a good part of Knicks fans out here, like whenever I go to TD Garden, there's always like a good contingent of Knicks fans that show up. But it's not the same like when you live in New York and you're in like your own like pool, your own environment of just Knicks fans all around. So CP reached out to me, asked me to do a a voiceover and script some stuff for the Frank Ntilikina video and worked from there, and then blogging and became the senior editor for the website. Then, started being a co-host and stuff like that. So from there, that's kind of my entry into the game, and I love it, man. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Fire. Go ahead, Phil.
Love it. Yeah, it's crazy because we talk about it all the time. Like, there's no fandom like Nick fandom. We are passionate sometimes to a fault, but we also love doing things in excellence. So everyone's always striving. So no matter how much we do, there's always the other content creators that we're just yo, these are the guys that are doing it in excellence. These are the kind of people that when people talk about Nick content creators, you want to be in that kind of chat, and so with you guys, with our guys, still Knicks fans, with D's, from D's World to Hoops, those are the kind of people that, we love seeing what you guys continue to do, because opportunities continue to open because you are constantly pushing yourselves to do things in excellence and not just settle. And so hats off to you guys. You guys grind. There's times where I'm just man, I want to be in bed right now after this game, but I know I should be making a video right now, and there's a lot of people, that'll just go to bed, and you guys will pop up. I'll be yo, all right, they're grinding. I should be grinding too. Bottom line, those who really care about it, we're going to put in the work. So we appreciate you guys. We appreciate all you guys do, and we appreciate you being here today for sure.
Yeah, it's good to see, actual fans being able to voice themselves, not just on YouTube, but you were featured on SNY as well. CP's features on SNY as well. So it's good to see Knicks fans actually going out there and getting the voice, because I always joke around, a lot of these commentators nowadays, I like to joke around and say they're probably failed actors that just never made it, but just found the lane when it came to talking sports. I hope none of them come after me for saying that. But Alex, let's dive right into it when it comes to the conversation about our team. That's why we're here. And also, if you ever want to talk about Yankees, we got a show with Pete Seminetti on NYY News TV called Get Yanked. So I would love to have you on there to talk Yankees right before the season starts and stuff, Alex. But going into tonight's game, do you think Josh Hart, have you heard anything? Will he be available for tonight's game?
I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen any updates yet. I think I saw Daquan Jeffries just got pulled up from to be part of the active roster. So I know that much. He probably still has to go through physical. Let's see how that transpires. But as of right now, I haven't seen anything yet. Haven't heard anything yet. So I would love to see it, but usually it takes some time.
Yeah. And when it comes to the Josh Hart trade, it's a move that I'm a big fan of. Right. Cam Reddish, wish him the best of luck. I'm sad it didn't work out here, but it is what it is. But hopefully he finds himself, a situation in Portland where he could drive, get some minutes, and try to rebuild whatever stock he has left in the NBA. So I just wish, Cam Reddish all the best. But Josh Hart, he's a dog. I know a lot of people, especially on Knicks Twitter, they talked about how he's undersized, he's 6'5". That may be true, but at the same time, majority of the games that he has played in the NBA, over 75 or 80%, I believe, was at the small forward position. This is a guy that may be 6'5", but he acts like he has a pair of Timbs on that makes him 6'8" with those long arms. Honestly, if you think about it. But ultimately, when it came to the Josh Hart move, how do you think he would fit in with this team?
I think he's going to be, I know there's a lot of contention right now, whether he's going to be a starter, replace Quentin Grimes, or come off the bench. I think he would come off the bench first. I don't think he really want to, when you play basketball, man, or any sport, there's a delicate balance between camaraderie, between chemistry that you have going, so forth. And what Quentin Grimes has with that starting rotation, I don't think you want to necessarily just change it halfway through the season, considering it's been working since the 9-man rotation. So I would expect Josh Hart to come off the bench. If there was a change, that would be pretty surprising to me later down the road. But I expect him to come off the bench, play next to Quickly. I would expect Deuce to lose some minutes. Yeah, I like the move. You're adding size. I like Deuce McBride's intensity on defense, but he's another small guard. Where you have Jalen Brunson out there, who's to be a defender, but you have McBride, who is, but even still, his offense is not around. You still need that part of the game, right? That's why Brunson, you see, even though he has his defensive deficiencies, more so due to his height, not more so his effort. I could see why you need someone like Josh Hart coming off the bench. He's good out in transition, so maybe that opens things up for Obi Toppin because you have two guys that love to run the floor at this point. You need strong rebounding. We see without Mitch that we need a guy who can rebound. He's averaging 8 rebounds per game. I mean, that's just incredible for a guard, man. It's incredible. And how many times do we see him being a one-man band man, as my guy Swiss Beats would say, out in the open out on the open floor, man, in transition. So look, with someone like that, it's a great addition for the Knicks. I'm just curious to see where they're going to carve out minutes because I think McBride, I think they're going to go 10. My expectation would be they go 10 for a little bit just to wean him in so that way he gets comfortable and we'll start seeing McBride lose minutes. If they go back to a 9-man rotation, I see McBride out being a depth guy and quickly being that, as he still is, that point guard for the second unit. And then you have Josh Hart running right next to him with Obi Toppin, Isaiah Hartenstein. And I think that's your bench unit right there. But I like it, man. We need defense. And we've seen like the last couple of games that we've been out rebounded in the last couple of seconds of a game. You know, we have the Clippers getting a rebound, Batum getting that ball back and then knock it down to 3. Like if we just get that rebound, you're talking about, you know, what are we right now? Let me check what we got. We're 31 and like 25 at that point. So, you know, it just changes. And in the Eastern Conference, even though it has changed with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving leaving the Brooklyn Nets, you know, each win matters for this team. They don't want to be a plan. You don't want to have to rely on one game, at max 2 games to get into that slot. So I see that this, you know, it's expected that this team is trying to compete for a top 6 positioning in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, 100%. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, you know, like when it comes to Hart, at first I was a little disgruntled about giving up a pick because, you know, like we talk about how this front office wants a star, you know, and so that's why we thought we were accumulating those picks. But the more and more I started like kind of just sitting down because a lot of times you got to kind of sit back from your emotions, kind of like take it all in, listen to some other opinions as well to kind of polish exactly how you feel so you can take that perfect balance of like emotion and fandom and actual like facts and then figure out what you really think about it. And so for me, it took a little a second to kind of figure it out. But when it comes to the benefits of getting him now and the bird rights, you know, that can come with it, the fact that we can still, because we have, you know, that Dallas pick, you know, we still have picks going forward that we could still package. But also the fact that, like, we said it the other day, but when I look at our front office, we tampered to get Jalen Brunson. Like, we got hit with that, you know, like we did that, you know? So it's not, to me, when people are like, we got him as a rental, I'm like, there's no way we got him as a rental. Like, his best friend is who we're revolving the team around right now. His papa, who probably has good relationship with him as well, is on our coaching staff. His old agent, you know, is part of our organization. There is no way we have not gotten like a verbal agreement from Josh Hart that if we were to get Portland to be able to like say yes to the deal, that he would stay with us moving forward. Like, he wants to be in New York. Like, this is a guy that, like, you can tell when someone gets traded and they're not really like ecstatic. There's kind of a delay before any post. It was like, as soon as like it was announced by Woj, he had blue and orange already in his like Twitter. You know, he was ready to just hit post as soon as it happened. So I truly believe moving forward, that's already a locked in deal. Like, this guy is going to be with us. He's going to be re-signing with us. We're going to be revolving, you know, around him and Jalen's duo. And I know the chemistry's already there. The friendship's already there. So that's good. But my question is just speculation. Do you think that chemistry causes any friction anywhere moving forward? Because you see that Jalen Brunson and RJ, I mean, and Julius have kind of had this like dynamic duo of friendship on the team, you know, where they're kind of looking out for each other. They speak highly of each other. They're kind of that like yin and yang that bring out the best of each other. Do you think this, because, you know, we know Randall, he gets emotional. Like, do you think there's anything that could cause friction there? Like, seeing this dynamic duo kind of in the locker room, in the huddles, the relationship already via Twitter of them celebrating together. Do you think this rubs Randall at all for the rest of the season? Does it cause anything?
No, I don't think that at all. And, you know, look, Randall was a Laker, Hart was a Laker. These guys played with each other while over in LA. So I don't think there's any gripe with them at all. I think when you look at Josh Hart, I think the thing is that what we saw last season was a multitude of things from Randall. And like I was on the trade of wanting to trade him. We were unsure of how he would bounce back this season. And I think what you see from Randall right now is that he's in a better headspace. He's performing at a high level. He has respect for Jalen Brunson. Obviously, you mentioned that Brunson has respect for him. The thing about Josh Hart is that he's a role player, right? And the totem pole of what Hart brings to this team, he's not stepping over even RJ Barrett and what we're going to look for offensive production, touches, and stuff like that. His job in here is going to be a gritty defender, grab those boards, score when the opportunity comes, and be a good teammate. And Josh Hart has been wanted around the league. I mean, even though he's gone from team to team to team, he's been traded, he's been desired. He's just that role player that every team can take because he's going to give you something that your team is lacking. So I don't see him being on like any bad side with Julius or being a friction with the friendship. If anything, we just read I forget where did I read? It was Brunson. I forget what article I was reading, but they discussed the chemistry in this locker room right now, how Brunson is just so well connected to everybody. There's like a good atmosphere going on right now, and Harsh is going to add on into that. He's a Villanova product. They have good team. They've been known to have good teams, right? The chemistry from there is still like you just see it's very professional guys that come from Villanova, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's still going to translate with Josh Hart. I have no concern about that whatsoever.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. But before we continue, I want to just shout out the chat real quick. I just want to throw it out there as well. Blood of the Panther. I just made you a moderator, my guys. Salute to you. D World of Hoops is in the chat. I appreciate you. Delano still just got added as a moderator as well. And as we continue the conversation, just put whatever questions you got for Alex. Throw it in the chat. Shout out to my man, the Smoking Knicks. SK is in the building. Eric Wallace in the building. And hit the likes for the guys as we continue with the conversation. But Alex, and here's our producer, Jiggaman Porto. Jiggaman, what it do?
What's good? Did you really think I wasn't gonna find time to be here when Alex was on? What's up, Alex, my guy? How you doing, bro?
What's going on, Jiggaman? How you feeling?
Good, man. I mean, to start off the episode, I heard them ask you the questions about the backstory. I was trying to pull a little graphic. I was about to do like a Super Saiyan moment. We had the whole lore, man. But appreciate you being here, man. I'm glad to see everybody in the chat. What we talking about right now, guys? Where we at? The Hart conversation?
Yeah, just throwing it around, seeing how Hart would fit in with the team. And Alex brought up a point. When it comes to Julius Randle, right, he has rewritten his story. In my eyes, he has rewritten his story, especially with the fans. Right now on February 10th, we are 30-26, right? We have 26 games left of the season. If we were to just go 500 down the rest of the way, Alex, and just go 13-13, we would finish the season at 43 wins and 39 losses. To me, I think that's a success, especially what happened last year and just trying to build something positive for the future. Because one thing about our franchise, we've been struggling to show a level of consistency. And that's one thing. You could try to clear cap space. You could try to trade for whatever superstar you want to trade for, but you have to show some level of consistency to try to bring people to you, to show them that you're an attractive destination to land. So right now, I'm happy with the front office. A lot of people may have mixed emotions, but that's what it is being a Knicks fan. We just a bag of emotions over here. It's like a piñata of just emotion. SK, if you guys can, I'm putting the link to the new channel in the chat right now. If you jump over to the Morning Brew Sports YouTube, I'll be able to make you a moderator on that channel right now. Go ahead, Jigga.
Well, I know you guys were talking about this one, and what I found crazy about the article was that's good enough for now, So it's like you said, right? Twitter Spaces is different, right? Twitter, where we know the fandom, everybody's going to be torn, this and that. But I kind of agree with that's good enough for now. Because I was calling for it, right? I don't want to see the crazy trades. I don't want to see us just make a move to make a move. We got somebody that actually does make us look better, helps us our role, and now let's just focus on what we've been talking about, right? And that's what the heck is the rotation going to be? And then the biggest question, since we got Alex here, can we jump into this one? Who the hell is going to get the minutes? Like, how do you see it playing out? Because I'll be honest, I mean, I'm still on the, hey, can Obi get some minutes train, right? So, like, does that conversation now get even harder? And does that come out of my mouth every Friday, right? So, Alex, I mean, what are your thoughts when it comes to the rotation, bro? Like, do you see Deuce being that guy that's being reduced completely? Like, how do you see it playing out?
Yeah, I actually just wrote an article for KnicksFanTV.com. You can go check it out on the website. Just detailing like what the harsh deal means, like what he brings to the team, minutes, contract situation, and the trade and the assets that we traded in the deal. I think McBride is going to lose the minutes. I think he's the loser at the end of this thing because I think, like I said earlier, we want to have size on this team. Tom Thibodeau always preaches size for the New York Knicks. I think Deuce is the guy who's going to be the odd man out when it goes back to 9, although I think there'll be a 10-man rotation for a little bit as Hart gets to be weaned in. I think you're going to see – I don't think Quickly gets his minutes reduced. I think Quickly is too vital for what the Knicks are doing right now. You see Tom Thibodeau likes to have him in the fourth quarter. He's that secondary ball handler. You see that when it's just Jalen Brunson out there, especially against the Boston Celtics. Like you saw how they were just trapping him and they didn't want like, they were really pressuring the living daylights out of Brunson. Right. So having Quickly out there kind of gives that ability for Brunson to be free on the court. You have to worry about another ball handler. So I don't see Quickly. I think Grimes may be in trouble of losing some minutes, but you know, that's just because you're going to want to have RJ out there. Grimes is still like a second-year player. You know, he's a sophomore on that contract, just on the team in general. So I see him maybe losing some minutes also because it's actually funny. I was doing some research on the Grimes draft history, and I think it was for draftnet.com. They had his comp as Josh Hart, so it's hilarious that it's like, well,
yes,
so like,
yes,
well, I guess
that.
This is where it is, although Grimes is a better shooter than Hart, in my opinion. But I see Grimes losing a little bit of minutes. I'd also see actually RJ lose some minutes too, man. His defense, like if you look at the numbers, defensive rating, RJ's on the bottom of the entire roster when it comes to being defensive.
I'm so glad you said that, bro, because that's the conversation I was having last night was I don't think people are talking enough about RJ might be that dude that loses those minutes because let's be real. We all still want to see great things from RJ, but we got to look at the game itself. And he's been on that downward spiral a little bit. You can see him back in his head. So I'm right there with you, Alex. I would not be surprised to see RJ dip a little bit in those minutes, man.
Yeah. Talking about RJ, somebody in the chat got something for Alex. He said, yo, Alex, do you still have the guy's number who fixed Allen Houston's jump shot? Give it to RJ.
I do. Me and Art talk pretty we still talk, man. We talk here and there, but there's some history. I won't go into why between him and the Knicks, but I won't go into that history.
Real quick, everybody in the chat, I just dropped the link for Alex's article. Go check it out. It's right there for everybody in the chat. Go ahead, my bad, guys.
Yeah, you know, when it comes to the minutes, you know, I do feel like hopefully there's not favoritism, you know, to the point where it's looked at as like, this is my golden child, they can't sit. You know, like if we're going to move forward, we're making moves to progress as a team. We can't look and be like, well, RJ is coveted, so he can't take, you know, a back seat now. Because if McBride comes out and he's playing both sides of the ball and he's doing better in the short amount of minutes than RJ's getting, then I want to see McBride out there. If Grimes is doing better, I want to see Grimes out there. If Hart is doing better, I want to see Hart out there. Like, we say it all the time. Like, Jiggaman points out all the time. The greatest thing about a Yankee jersey is there is no name on the back. You support what's on the front. So, for me, exactly. I don't care who gets the minutes as long as it's the person showing effort on both sides of the court, you know? And so, I'm hoping to see more. At the end of the day, it's still, for me, fire Tibbs until Obi Toppin's got 20 minutes. But it is what it is. You know, like, until I see Obi Toppin play 20 minutes, I'm going to rep that. Like, get Tibbs the hell out of here. But other than that, you know, like I would like to see accountability there. You know, and one thing I did see that was great was after the game in Orlando, I was at the Magic game. And as they're walking down, getting ready to go into the tunnel, Julius Randle could see the frustration in RJ Barrett. And he went over, put his arm around him, started giving him kind of a little knuckle sandwich and kind of just encouraging him. And I think that's crucial, you know, because like there have been times where those people don't get the opportunity to bounce back with that encouragement first, you know, like it's just kind of like constant beat yourself over the head. But seeing Julius Randle not just be the one that's getting that from other people, but he's now giving it, is great going into this transition because RJ's going to have opportunities to say, my team believes in me. Okay, now I got to show it. And if he doesn't show it, then those minutes do need to come down so that someone like Hart could play a little more.
Absolutely. I agree with that too. Like, I'm always about the team on the front of the jersey first before the individual player. But like Phil, like you, I want to see Obi get more minutes. I mean, that's for him. I don't think you can cut his minutes anymore with Josh Hart. And if we start seeing small ball lineups with Josh Hart playing at the 4, I'm really going to start looking Tom Thibodeau pretty funny, because if you can figure out how to get a guy in defensively, you got to figure out how to get a guy in there offensively as well, because it's both sides of the court, right? You want to open up the spacing on the court. You know, Obi's shooting better from 3. You want to get guys out there in transition. Obi can do that. And I think you just need more minutes, because with that, you start seeing like that turnaround jumper that he has. You know, you can't find rhythm until you're getting more minutes. And that's why, you know, this is why there's a friction between the fan base, where it's like we're asking for more minutes, not because we believe he's an all-star or going to be this like great, like magical player that's going to turn everything around. We're asking for that because we're asking, he gives you offense. This team comes to a grinding halt on some occasions when he's not playing offense. You know, not when he's not playing offense, but like this team comes to a grinding halt with other guys on the court, I should say, not Obi specifically. So like bring in Obi just to get some easy buckets going. You need some transition just to keep that scoring going. Why not go to him? That's just type of stuff that I just want to see from this team moving forward. And that's just been the frustration overall. So it's not like whether or not he's an all-star or can be and all of that. Maybe he can be, maybe he will, but he needs minutes, and he should be getting that considering he's an 8th overall pick. You know, that's Leon Rose's first choice as president of basketball operations. Tibbs was here. You know what I mean? I mean, you see the stuff from like Bondi today saying, you know, he's still here. Will you get more minutes? You see Berman throwing out there that Wes is a big fan. Bondi said the same thing too. Berman also said like doesn't believe in Obi's IQ. Although at the end of last season we had Berman also saying that Tibbs was in remorse for not playing the young guys. So what is it? What is it that we're not seeing from here? And I know this is a Josh Hart show, but it just bothers me because we should just see what this kid can do. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah.
No, Alex, I think we feel the same way, bro.
I didn't know when I bought this shirt that I should have asked him on the back to put Tibbs' minutes can stop Obi Toppin. Right? Because I'm right there with you. I want to see him play. Right. And when he's out there, granted, his run is a little awkward and we all laugh at it, but it's entertaining. It's like watching Forrest Gump, right? You're like, just something about it brings you joy. But when he's out there, you're seeing the shots. It brings that kind of like that dose of energy when he comes in, right? Yeah. Not only just the fan base in the crowd, but for the team as well. So I'm right there with you, man. I'd love to see him get some more minutes.
As somebody who suffers from ADHD, whenever I see Obi Toppin on the court, the dopamine levels just rise, and I just need more and more and more of it, right? But also, you brought up Mark Berman, which is a great segue. The segue over because the tweet, you know, that Mark Berman put out yesterday, talking about the whole Obi Toppin situation. Not sure if you're familiar with it, but Mark Berman said Knicks executive William Wesley has a love affair with Obi Toppin, and they set the asking price way too high when it came to including him in the trade. Thibodeau still has reservations on Obi's basketball IQ, and it kind of shows with the minutes that he has been given over the past few years since Tibbs has been his head coach. Like you said, Alex, we're not asking for the minutes because we expect Obi to be an all-star. We just want to see what he can do. If Kevin Knox, who was the 9th pick in the draft, was able to be a starter in his rookie season, Obi Toppin should at least get 20 minutes a game just to see what we can have. If you look at the minutes right now that he's getting 15 minutes per game, less minutes than what he was getting last year when he was averaging 17 minutes per game. So we just need to see a few extra minutes. We're not asking from us. Instead of playing Julius Randle 44 minutes a game, play him 40 minutes. Give those extra 4 minutes to Obi Toppin. Let's just switch it up down the stretch.
And the thing is no one wants Randall to play less because it's Randall. Like, but you got to think how great Randall has been playing. Imagine if he wasn't exhausted for some of those minutes, you know, like there are stints that you will see Randall just kind of like trying to make it down the court, like because he's exhausted. Like it comes off as effort sometimes, but a lot of times it's not effort. It's the fact that he's played 44 minutes for the last 5 games, you know? So imagine what it could look like if Randall only had to play 38 minutes a game. like how much like of a rejuvenated player he could be out there, you know? And so when Obi Toppin's getting like some games, it's even been 8 to 10 minutes, you know, like, and he's still averaging almost 7 points a game and 3 rebounds on 41% shooting. And so my thing is, if we're going to set the price high, my biggest fear yesterday was Obi Toppin getting traded, us watching him go to another team and making us look foolish. That was my biggest fear yesterday. But we read a tweet like that we set the price so high. Like, why are you going to set the price so high and then allow it to be on the shelf? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. I'm a whiskey whiskey drinker. Like, I love whiskey. And my biggest thing is when I find out that people are like, oh yeah, I have all those rare bottles. They're on my shelf. They've been there for like 10 years. And I'm like, what the hell are they doing there for 10 years? Like, bring them to my house. I'll pop them open right now. I don't care if it's $3,000.
Whiskey bottles like I collect Pokemon cards.
Like, makes no sense to me. Like, why have something great and then not enjoy it? You know? So that's what, you know, I want to see.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I love that. First of all, I love that we got Dragon Ball Z reference. We got Yankees.
Got to, baby. Got to.
Hector, you guys are killing it right now, man. You're killing
Power Ranger sticker behind my head, bro. I think I'm the only 33-year-old man on the internet that got a Power Ranger sticker behind his head.
That's fire.
Come on, Alex.
I appreciate all that. I appreciate all that. And it's like, yeah, like I guess that's the confusing part, right, Phil? Because you think, like, why are we putting a value for Obi Toppin who's getting 15 minutes, a role player, at such a high value? Is it because he's an 8th pick? Do they know what he can actually do? Like, we have not seen it. You know, executives around the league are doing the same thing we're doing. They're watching all these games when they're looking at a player. Same thing with scouting departments and whatnot. Like, they can see all these like spurts of like whatever, whether it's greatness, whatever you want to call it, right? A semblance of a solid basketball player. If he gets more minutes, that he could probably be productive. But you need to put that on the court so that way you can go get that value. And for me, if you're just going to keep Obi Toppin around for another season when he's going to be in the last year of his contract, right before he's a restricted free agent, at probably the lowest that you can get. Probably the next time they could trade him is this offseason. So that way someone can get him in-house and see what he can do, get him into the system and whatnot. But if they trade him during the next season, or they're just going to keep rolling around with this, one, it's not fair for the organization, because now there's always going to be the thing behind Randall, right? Like, there's always going to be the player behind Randall. That was the whole thing last season, right? It was that Randall was struggling last season, and we saw they were struggling. So it's like, if he's struggling, can we just see Obi? That's the biggest thing. And now it's like, well, now Obi needs to get minutes because Randall's killing it, and now he's going to need rest towards the end of the season, and he should not be playing. I think he's averaging 33 minutes right now this season, but you know, through that stretch where you're playing Houston, San Antonio, and even the Suns, he's playing 40 plus minutes, and you need him those nights. Like, it's just crazy. So
yeah,
just give him the chance.
What's crazy to me, and I get it, right? When people are like, oh, if you talk good on Obi, that means you don't like Julius. And I get it, right? Because everybody looks at it from the eyes of, oh, same position kind of look, right? But why is it that we avoid the fact that we're not playing a traditional rotation? We're not playing traditional positions, right? And at the end of the day, we can come up with any semblance of a game plan, and we're still going to see the same ISO ball, right? So miss me with all that. Oh, if you like Obi, you don't like Julius. No, what I'm saying is Julius is killing it. We all can sit there, and anybody that says that Julius is not killing it, you just hate him, just to hate him, because you're not paying attention to basketball. The man has been a rock for our team. His mentals are right. He's balling out. What we're saying is facts. Give the man a little bit of rest, and you got a guy that can be that piece that lets him get that rest. It's Obi. Why does it have to be either or? That's what drives me crazy with the conversation. It's not an either or. Yeah. It's, hey, let's let our main guy who's cooking for us get a little breather, and we've got a piece that can give us that. So I don't understand why it's such a either or conversation.
And so before we transition to the next topic, because this kind of leads us up to it. So I was thinking yesterday, because all the reporters were reporting that all these teams had reached out showing interest in Obi Toppin, okay? Up to the wire, you know? And so my whole thing is, it kind of reminds me, and let me take you there real quick, us not being able to see it, but everyone else is able to see it. It kind of makes me feel like we're Ime Udoka, you know, and we don't see the fact that we got Nia Long. And everyone else, when that news came out, was like, how does this guy make such a stupid decision to like let this go. You got Nia Long, someone that all these like men around the world would want, and you're shopping around. That's how I felt for our front office. I was like, we are about to like lose our relationship with Nia Long for some side chick that satisfies for a few minutes. But part of those trade talks was for somebody that the fan base was divided on, and that was Zach LaVine. Obviously, people had, their thoughts that it would be great. Some were like, hell no, please don't do this. Alex, where did you stand on these possible trade scenarios that were being talked about Zach LaVine?
Oh my goodness. So let me make this clear. I like Zach LaVine as the player. I think after his knee injury, like his defense is definitely taking a hit, but he's a guy that when everything's hit, when he's healthy, I like his game. You see that there was a report where he's out on Billy Donovan or just not in agreement with him, something along those lines. But I like him as a player. So let me just say that when it comes to what the Knicks were trying to do, not for it. You already got Quentin Grimes, you got RJ Barrett. Zach LaVine's defense has taken a step back. This just, to me, is you're just going for second place and not first, because you had the opportunity to go get Donovan Mitchell. And so with those trade rumors, it's like, okay, you re-signed RJ Barrett. We know Tibbs loves Grimes. We know we are high on Emmanuel quickly, even though he was included deals with RJ as well, draft capital and so forth. Why go for a guy who's not even top 25 in the league like Donovan Mitchell at that point? And so that irks me even more than the fact of who he is. And if you're going to trade the same amount of stuff to go get Zach LaVine that you could have for Donovan Mitchell, you're looking funny in the light. So I don't want to, don't like, for me, no, not even like, it's not a player that I would go for at this stage of the game. But if you told me that you're trying to go into the offseason, you're going to think of like how you can get him on the cheaper deal or some forth, I'm still not even fully involved in the thought process anymore, because I want to see what Quentin Grimes is. I think Quentin Grimes has shown so much in year 2 that it just, for me, I'm like, what is Grimes' ceiling? More than I already know what Zach LaVine is. I think Zach LaVine with Randall, Brunson, I think that's even more of a clunkier fit. And it's not, I think it's more of a clunky fit because you got to look at Zach LaVine as a score first guy. Like, he can pass, he can cut, he can move off ball, but he's looking to score. And for Grimes, I feel like his game is just so well-rounded that if you want him to score, he can score. If you want him to pass, he can pass. He's a two-way player. He's aggressive. He's strong. I like all those aspects of his game more so than getting someone like Zach LaVine. I think the bigger conversation that people would have to have moving forward is RJ the long-term solution? And this is not me being off on RJ, right? Just because of the season. It's like, do you want RJ because this league is so predicated on wings? Are you going to give RJ enough time to develop? Are you going to be patient with him to see if he can improve his defense, if he can add a jump shot? And like we've seen a little bit about that. That's the question I would have. And that's not me being off on RJ. I like RJ. I'm not ready to have that conversation yet, right? Because I still think there's more to him that we haven't seen. But, that the Zach LaVine stuff, I'm off that right now.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree. Listen, if this was 5 years ago when Zach LaVine didn't have the contract that he has right now, and we had the opportunity to trade for Zach LaVine, that's the other thing. I would have traded for Zach LaVine, because you're nuts if you're not going to say that Zach LaVine wouldn't be box office at Madison Square Garden and a healthy Zach LaVine, because he definitely would. But the injuries and the contract, like my man Ron just put it up, 43 million, 46 million, 49 million. Listen, if you would have put him on that team, our team at 49 million, that's like having 2 Julius Randles when it comes to the contract size, when you look at Julius Randle's contract. So besides that, miss me with Zach LaVine. I hope for him the best, especially Lonzo Ball. Both of them are battling the injuries. So hopefully they both come back and able to, step their game up. But for me personally, when it comes to RJ Barrett, you hit it right on the head, because when we first started the show, one of the things, Alex, that we said we were going to do was take the kid gloves off, right? When it comes to RJ Barrett, right? It's year 4, expectations are expectation. This was the 3rd pick in the draft behind John Morant and behind Zion Williamson. We need to see what RJ is going to do in year 4. 20 points per game, it's solid. The efficiency is not there. The defense is not there. I'm not sure if it's because he put on more muscle and he has to slim down. I'm not sure if it's, him playing out of position. He came into the league as a 2 guard. They moved him to the 3. I'm not sure if it's that. I'm not sure if it's the usage rate. Maybe Tom Thibodeau is using him too much, too many minutes, maybe wearing on his body. I know that's weird to say about a kid who's 22 years old, but maybe that's what it is. When we talk about Tom Thibodeau and his rotations, you bring up Phil, Julius Randle, 38, 40, 44 minutes a game. You guys see how efficient Julius Randle is in the first quarter. Imagine if Julius Randle wasn't tired in the second, third, and fourth quarter, how efficient he would be for the entire game, not just only in the first quarter, right? So when it comes to the Obi Toppin situation and getting minutes, it's just so Obi Toppin could be a backup, not for him to just supersede Julius Randle, because that's not gonna happen. Like Phil said, Julius Randle, he's having the best season of his career. Take away from his all-star season, if you look at his numbers, he's scoring a little bit better. His field goal percentage is a little bit better. The assists may be down, but that's because of Jalen Brunson on the team. But Julius Randle is having the best career, the best season he has had in his career. And you got to tip his hat off to him, especially after what happened last year, especially how a lot of the fan base turned on him. So I got to tip my hat to Julius Randle. When it comes to RJ, I just want to see RJ be more efficient. I just want to see RJ just not getting blown by and get beat on the defensive side of things. You got Walt Clyde Frazier calling you out on national TV, saying that you are the worst defender that we have when it comes to the stats. And we never hear Walt Clyde Frazier calling anyone out. Yeah. That's a rarity we see from Walt Clyde Frazier. So when it comes to RJ, just work on the little things that we can. And if Alex can get RJ that shooting coach, I think we'll be good money.
Yo, man. Like,
here's the thing.
Like I think the other thing with like RJ is that I that Fred Katz article talked about how he didn't play ball this offseason too. So I have to think that plays an effect as well. Like Randall is known for like how much he grinds in the offseason. You see other guys who put in that work. When you're not playing ball in the offseason, like you need to. Basketball is a game where you constantly have to be playing in order to feel the rhythm, in order to come in with like, just like. It's like dancing, right? Like or like riding a bike, right? You never forget it, but to be good at it, you have to keep going at it, right? Like you're not going to be able to go up mountains unless you keep doing like mountain trails every single time, right? Like you remember how to do it, but you're not going to be so good at it unless you're doing it every single day. And the same thing is like that for basketball. So for RJ this offseason, I know he's worried about the contract extension and all that type of stuff, but honestly, to me, like next year, we can't have a slow start. That's where I'm going to draw the line where it's like, all right, you want to say that the contract, like next year's the last line. Like if we have another slow start, like if you're like Mark Teixeira, if you're like any, like if you have to start off the year like that, I don't know if I can do that, especially with the defense. Like the defense is really taking a step back. Like I know he's not the perfect defender. He was our best defender by default last season, but he can be better than what he's showing right now. And that's the thing that is like really concerning, is that he took such a step back. And I don't think it's necessarily threes. I think it's just mobility, man. Like maybe that is through the weight. Maybe it is. Maybe he does have to slim down. Maybe he's got to go figure out who to train with to make sure that he's got a quick step. So next season, that's where like you got to start drawing the line where it's like you got to come in being ready to ball.
And saying taking a step back, that's being very gracious of you, because it's more he took a stumble back. The man tripped on his 2 back feet and just fell backwards all the way down the stairs. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, there's a few great points you guys are talking about. First, with the whole Zach LaVine thing, it's not going to work with RJ, that's for sure. Like you have 4 dominant scorers, now on a roster. So obviously he would have to go. And that's where kind of my frustration with the front office kind of comes from, is we throw all of our eggs in one basket without having backup plans, So like we did everything we could down to the minute with the Donovan Mitchell trade. And when that didn't work out, I honestly think the re-signing of RJ Barrett was a scatter. Like, okay, we couldn't get what we really wanted. We need to give him the bag. Like we just put him on the trade market, and it didn't work out. We don't have any other options. So we're going to sign him for this long contract. And now we're like still looking into superstar players, and possibly throwing him into that, So I feel like that's a lot on the front office to like take that responsibility. Like, you guys screwed up. We do this a lot, as the Knicks franchise. We got players like Evan Fournier on the bench instead of DeMar DeRozan. And we're like, oh, well, now we can't do anything about Fournier.
Hey, Phil, I made it clear after Fournier's last performance, we still have the mini Fournier fan club, so we can't bash him.
You made that clear. I didn't make that clear.
No, Phil,
I live in Orlando, and I watched him for a whole season. I will never make that deal.
You got to understand
he played well. He played well.
When it comes to Evan Fournier, he has one job and one job only: to make those creps in the back in the coaching staff. Right, that's what he has to do. He makes the creps for the coaching staff, and that's what we need him for, bro. That's the only job he has on this team.
I can't support your hate of the tribesman that is Evan Fournier. Nice guy. But what I will say, when it comes to RJ Barrett, that's one thing that kind of drives me nuts. The whole fact that he had no problem saying that he didn't play in the offseason. Like, before I had a surgery, I was running every single day. Okay. I was up to like 5 to 7 miles every single day. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. After the surgery, I had a time of recovery. And no matter how long I was doing those 5 to 7 miles a day, I'm still not back to those 5 to 7 miles a day because it takes time to get to that. And so, like, the fact that this is, and I don't get paid a single thing. Like, my biggest payment is that I give myself a pat on the back that I'm not fat anymore. And now I am, but like, that was my payment. This guy's getting paid buku bucks. And he's saying, I want money. Give me money. And what is he doing? Not playing. Like, that to me doesn't show the heart and effort that we want to build a team around. So yeah, if he's still with us in the offseason, he needs to be in the gym all day, every day. Like, he does not look like the same player that he was. When he has good games, he has really good games. But when he has bad games, they are hard to watch. Yeah. So there can't be that like giant pendulum swing because we can't rely on that for someone that we just gave the bag to. So that's kind of where I stand on the whole RJ thing. As much as I love RJ, my dog is freaking called Barrett because RJ Barrett. But still, at the end of the day,
Alex, just so you know, he was going to name the dog Obi, but he was scared that Obi Toppin was going to be traded away, so he didn't have to want to be stuck with a dog for the 100%. Next 15 years named Obi.
My wife wanted Obi, and I said, if Obi gets traded, I will not be able to love this dog the same way. So I cannot do it.
It's kind of like with me and jerseys. I make sure, like, when I don't buy rookie jerseys, I never buy a rookie jersey. I think that from like, there's only a couple jerseys that I bought. I got Shumps with that. That was like, I was like, oh man, now he's gone. I got Derrick Rose. And I got Jalen Brunson. And like those guys, like, I respect those guys, how they play, but I rarely buy rookie jerseys. I'd rather buy like that guy who's like a player that just comes in for like a cup of coffee for like one season. They made an impact like Derrick Rose, and like I can get behind that, or I'll go because I like Jalen Brunson. I liked his game over in Dallas, and I was very high on him when the Knicks were like after him. I liked him, so I could support that just because like he balled out in the Western Conference. But I'm with you, Phil. Like, I am not that type of guy to go off the ledge and be like, all right, we're gonna name our pet. We're gonna get this jersey, and it's gonna be the rookie. We're all in.
Honestly, Alex, I have so many jerseys that are hard to wear sometimes. And as a Jet fan, especially, I had someone call me out that I still had the cojones to wear a Sanchez jersey. Like, years after
you know what? That one's aging a lot better than everyone who bought a Zach Wilson jersey. So, you know what I mean?
The difference is my brother goes with jerseys and hats, and I'm the one that goes all the way with the tats. So I can't get away with it. I was like, over.
Oh man, yeah. I didn't. Side note: I did not like Zach Wilson coming out of the draft.
No.
God, you ain't the only one. You ain't the only one. But go ahead, Jigga.
No, I'm about to say we're gonna have to invite Alex over for our Yankee show, our Jet show.
Jets? Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So, Alex, I know we've got you for a couple more minutes. I want to switch it up real quick because I'm still a little upset about the fact that I saw what Bones Highland got traded for. Mm-hmm. And I want your thoughts on that because I'm a Bones guy. I like Bones. I think he's a good player, and to see that it only took 2 picks, 2 second-rounders, one in 2024 and one in 2025, and that's all it took to get Bones. What are your thoughts on it, man? Like, do you think he would have been a nice piece here? Do you think, why the heck didn't we make a move like that, or would it have been too repetitive to have him on our team?
Well, hold on. So first of all, let me just shout out Bola de Panta. I know Delano Steele's in here. Chris Joseph, salute to all those guys. And I see TC Steels says Alex has an Aaron Hicks jersey somewhere back there. No, first of all, I have a Brett Gardner jersey somewhere back there, all right? I got a Brett Gardner jersey, all right? Let's
No,
make that
Hicks,
clear.
get out of here with the Hicks stuff.
All right. But for seeing Bones Highland, I guess my question to you, Jigga, is that did you want to see quickly lose minutes?
Right. That's the question,
that's
right?
my question to you,
Quickly lose.
because they're essentially doing the same thing, right? Off the bench guards, give you some scoring punch, and quickly can do more because he's a playmaker right now, solid rebounder. Defensively has just gone up another level since his rookie season. Like he improved last year, but even even this season is just out of this world how he's defending. But like for Bones Highland, I mean, my question is, why were the Nuggets getting so quick to make that deal? You know, you're playing with Nikola Jokic, you got Jamal Murray. So I'm asking, my question would be more like, what's up with Bones Highland as the person, the player himself, rather than that? Because sometimes teams make trades because they want to make sure that their culture is like just intact, right? I mean, we can do the same thing for the Cam Reddish deal, right?
Yeah.
They didn't play him. They're like, you know, he was out of the rotation. You could think that, you know, we know that Tibbs was not on board with it, but look what they traded, right, to go get Josh Hart. They put him in the deal, and we talk about Cam's upside. He's a tantalizing player when he's on the court, all those things. If you utilized him right, you probably could have gotten more. But look at the deal that we did for Josh Hart. And this is no snub to Josh Hart, but when you have young players with such high upside, sometimes you got to wonder, is there something more that we're not seeing and that they're making those deals? You know, those are my thoughts when thinking about that. So, I mean, it's crazy to see him go for like that draft capital, but
yeah,
I'm more questioning about the player. And if the Nuggets made that deal and really sold low on him, then that's more on the organization. But I'm more curious about the player and why he went for so low than the actual organization.
Yeah, and I CP and you guys were talking about it yesterday, but did a memo go out and Leon Rose not get the memo that teams in the league valued second round draft picks higher than first round draft picks? Because that's all we saw getting traded yesterday was just 5 second rounds here, 4 second rounds there. Like, did Leon Rose not open up that email? Did it go to his spam folder?
Do you want a fun fact? How many second rounders do you guys think was traded yesterday?
Oh God, off the top of my head, I would say 20. Just guessing.
20? Okay. The number's 30.
God. And I was trying to aim high as well when I said 20.
Yeah.
Well, Sadiq Bey alone got like traded for 5.
For 15.
Yeah, between this entire trade this year, 38 second rounders were traded.
God. Holy crap.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And talk about, like, you think about second rounders now, like NBA's always poo-pooed second rounders because usually that's kind of like, no one's really caring anymore. Now teams are like, yo, we're going to do our real analysis because you can find guys like Nikola Jokic in that second round, and you find Draymond Green in the second round. So now, look for us, for Jericho Sims, we got Miles McBride, Rokas is still over. I think he's in Spain just balling out right now. Like, you can find quality picks in the second round. I think teams are just you're starting to see like, okay, like we care about them, like they're valuable, but obviously first round is like, because it's so short, it's like first round, we're like, if we're making that deal for like first rounder, it's because we're trying to get somebody of like high character, high quality in return. So yeah,
it's, and the next day, we have a history with our franchise of hitting on some second round picks. David Lee was a second round pick. Mitchell Robinson, second round pick. Jericho Sims, like you just brought up, was a second round pick as well. So we do kind of have a track record when it comes to finding some diamonds in the well. Wilson Chandler as well. I think he was a late second round pick as well. That was an invite to Summer League. And yeah, so this team does have a history of finding some gems in the second round.
Yeah. So second rounds was the big thing. One thing that there's still speculation on that we want to talk about because we want to respect your time. But one thing that there's rumors is that there were multiple first round picks offered for Mikal Bridges. No one really knows what team that was from. Some speculate that it was the Knicks. But there's some tweets that came out. And also we have some audio from Mikal Bridges' experience when he was asked on how he feels about coming to New York. So we have the tweet by Josh Hart.
Yeah, we're calling the New York
tweet
Twitter
by Josh
files.
Hart, which so
ahead,
Josh Hart. So when are we doing dinner? And then Mikal posted JB and J Hart with a sad face, and then this audio.
I mean, I love him. I love being in New York. I love playing at MSG. You know, Barclays. I remember playing Barclays in college as well. So
I remember playing at Barclays too, but
so that statement is like when you were like in high school and there was like two girls and you were like, yo, she's a dime piece. And she's really nice too about the other girl. That's how it felt when he was talking about MSG and the Barclays Center. The Barclays Center's got the nice personality, but MSG's the dime piece, according to Mikal Bridges. So how do you feel? Do you feel like this is something that we should look for in the offseason? Do we think that our team tries to make a push of finding a way to get Mikal Bridges and bring that little trio of friendship together?
Yeah. Mikal Bridges, I mean, that's the guy we should have drafted. He's a 6'6" wing. I mean, slightly taller than Josh, but he's got the wingspan. That 7 foot 1 inch wingspan. That's
crazy, bro.
Solid shooter. My question is like, because he was a role player on the Suns. He was a role player on the Suns. You got RJ at the 3. You now got Josh Hart. If you think about him coming off the bench, my question is like, what do you think about Quentin Grimes? Like, if you're this Knicks front office, and I'm not saying you don't go for Mikal Bridges, but this offseason, everything, you got to put all this into consideration, saying like, how do we bring Mikal Bridges in, make sure that he gets his minutes, because he's going to need 30 plus minutes. Like that's who that dude is. So are you going to say we're shipping out RJ? We got more faith in Grimes to be that next guy. Like those are the questions that I would have if you're bringing in Mikal Bridges. I love him on this team. It's just, you know, you talk about bringing a high quality role player. Question is just, where do you go from there? And I'm not one to say like, hey, let's go trade RJ because I think we should go all in on Grimes. Like that's the tough part about being like when you're the front office. And that's why like I could be harsh on them. You know, I'm very, I wouldn't say harsh, but I'm critical on them when it comes to like negotiating, talent evaluation. Those are like two big things when it comes to this front office. But when it comes to like the actual like process and going through, like if you're making the move from Mikal Bridges, that 2 guard in your rotation, or if you're already in on sorry, my Siri's just listened to me and wants to be part of the next conversation.
Oh, good.
If you want Brunson and Randall to be that focal point of your offense, the next 2 guys you got to figure out is like RJ, Grimes, or someone we don't know about. So if you're bringing Mikal Bridges, I would expect that RJ's on the way out because that's the position he's going to play. And then you're either telling me that you believe in Grimes to be your 3rd guy, or you're going to be upgrading there at some point too. That's the way I look at it.
How I see it, and excellent points when you make that you just made, Alex, when you talk about if we were to get Mikal Bridges. But how I see it is it would make for a friendly competition. I would keep RJ in the starting lineup, knock on wood, just saying if we were able to get Mikal Bridges, I would move Grimes to the bench. I will have RJ move back to the 2 guard position, have Mikal Bridges play the 3. When it comes to RJ's, his defense is very suspect, right? But in his rookie year, one thing he was able to do as a rookie, and even in his 2nd year with Tom Thibodeau, one thing he was able to do in those 2 seasons, he was able to keep his smaller defender in front of him. Being a bigger shooting guard, he was able to use his size to keep those 2 guards in front of him. We've seen since he's been playing the small forward, that doesn't work because guys are probably the same size as him or a little bit bigger, and they're able to use their body to get out of the way when it comes to RJ defending them. So if you move RJ Barrett to the 2 guard position, it allows him to use his body to keep people in front of him. They may be able to get the quick first 1, 2, 3 step on him, but if he's able to use his body to make it harder for them to drive to the lane, I think we have something there. And with Mikal Bridges, he's one of those defenders that he's a great defender that also makes his team better. You know, the one thing that we could critique our big three on, Jalen, RJ, and Julius Randle, all three of them aren't big time defenders, right? So all three we can't rely on them to be big time defenders. But if we had a guy like Mikal Bridges who can be next to Mitchell Robinson as our anchors in the starting lineup defensively, I think we have something there with Grimes coming off the bench with IQ.
Let me ask you this question, though, Hector.
Go ahead.
So if you're going to put Mikal Bridges at the 3, you're going to slide RJ at the 2, right? My question, and you're going to put Grimes back. Are you expecting to keep Josh Hart, or are you trading Josh Hart?
No, I'm expecting to keep Josh Hart.
So then where do you? Yeah. So then, are you expecting a 10-man rotation or a 9-man rotation? I'm
hopefully, God, Tom Thibodeau, he goes to a 10-man rotation. I'm praying that he does. One to save guys for the season. But like I said, ADHD, I'm tired of seeing odd numbers. I need to see even numbers. I want to see 10 instead of 9, Alex. Please give me just that little bit, Alex.
So then your expectation, I just want to make sure that we got this all. So you're talking about Brunson, RJ, Bridges, Randall, Mitch as your starting 5. Your back 5 would be then IQ, Hart, or IQ, Grimes, Hart, Obi, and Sims. Either Isaiah Hartenstein if he's still here next season, or Jericho Sims.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I wrote down. Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping.
Like that would be one of those teams, though.
I'm asking for Christmas early. I know, Alex. I'm asking for Christmas early. I'm asking for that big PS5 present under the tree. I know I am, because we get it. Tom Thibodeau. This is a man that he waited until he was 66 years old before he grew his beard out. I understand that and I get that. So he probably won't change, and I probably won't get my dream. But if I had the dream scenario, that would be the dream scenario for me.
That would be the dream scenario.
That would be mine too, because the whole idea of trading for a star. Okay, I understand why some fans want that. But this gives us a solid 4 quarters of basketball, with a star on or off the court. Randall's becoming kind of that kind of player. We already have him. Let's lock in and build something like that for 4 quarters of basketball makes us hard to compete with. And that's 10 guys that may not have all-star contracts, but they play well, and if RJ shows up, awesome. If not, as much as I love RJ personally, if it meant Mikal Bridges coming, who has showed that he is constantly consistent, then I would bring Mikal and then find a really good shooting guard off the bench, a decent shooting guard that, just isn't happy where they're playing. They're not getting the minutes that they really want, but we feel like we could bring the best out of them. That would be personally, I want to keep RJ, but if it means moving the needle forward and actually being competitors where we can have 10 solid guys, I would do it. I honestly, personally don't think that anything on our roster has made Tibbs go, I need to be a 10-man rotation. Let's be honest. As much as he liked Fournier proved how streaky he could be. So Tibbs trying to save his job. Why would he want a streaky player like that?
You just don't like French people, bro. Just say you don't like French people, Phil. That's
I love French people, man. Right? I went overseas 2 summers ago. It was the greatest time of my life. You're a hater.
Listen, I'm a Puerto Rican man with a French last name, Phil. All right, you feel me?
Oh yeah, you're calling me the anti-Frenchman. You're the one talking about him making crepes. I'm just saying he was streaky. I'm talking basketball.
Listen, I like crepes.
I love the fact, guys. I love the fact that it's a day after the trade deadline. We're not even 24 hours out, and we already moving into how we getting Mikal Bridges next season. All right. So all I'm gonna hope for is if I get $1 for the rest of the season, every time I hear Mikal Bridges, Zach LaVine, and RJ's not our guy, bro. I'm telling you. Over the next 2 months,
I hung out with Eddie too much.
You're a rich man. You're a rich man if you get all that.
Very rich, very rich. Yeah, very rich.
Also, Phil, are you just so high on RJ because you named your dog RJ?
No. So I've personally liked RJ since he was in Duke. Okay. I like the pick. Obviously, we all wanted Zion. Obviously, John Morant is John Morant. But I kind of I feel like under different kind of coach, RJ could be a different player. And I feel that about a lot of our players, and so I try to look at it just from basketball in spite of Tibbs. And so one thing that also stood out to me is I went to a Magic game a while ago, RJ's rookie season. And one of my brides used to work for the Knicks, then moved to Florida. I'm a photographer, so I was shooting her wedding. She had me come to the game and give like the game ball. Obviously, I went to RJ's side, not Aaron Gordon's. But we were down there, and he was there. We took the picture. We were chatting, hanging out as if like we were just boys. You know, he stayed on the court for a while. We were chit-chatting. Aaron Gordon just tried to peace out, and I was like, yo, Buster, you better come back and at least say hi to people. But RJ kind of just showed when it wasn't cool to be a Knick, when everyone was saying that no one wanted to be a Knick, RJ Barrett came and wanted to be a Knick. Like, and that was important to me. Like, it was important to me to pop. You stupid.
when your tape gets cut off.
Yo. But that was important to me, you know, in a time where everyone was like, no one wants to be here. He wanted to be here. Now it's starting to be like an acceptable thing to possibly want to come back to the Garden, but he wanted to be there when no one else did. And so I attribute that to like the character of player that he is. And you know, we have revolved since day one around Randall, and I like Randall, but there has been some favoritism. You know, as soon as RJ came into the league, it's always been Randall's team, you know, and when we recruited RJ, it was to kind of build around him, you know, and we didn't. So I think he's handled a lot of these things well. And my hopes is that this summer Tibbs gets fired, somebody comes in, or, you know, like, and sees what RJ and Obi can be, and they'll be balling next year. We'll all be happy. Tibbs will be somewhere making someone's life miserable that's not a Knick, and we'll be good.
He'll be in Orlando running Pablo Banchero to the ground with the minutes. That's where he'll be at.
Guys, we know we literally can sit here for the next 4 hours and keep talking to RJ. But Alex, I know we had a hard stop, which I appreciate you staying later with us, bro. Thank you so much for making the time. Alex, are you in New York?
No, I live in Boston.
Boston.
But,
Oh, that's right. He said in the beginning of the show.
I live in Boston. Yeah, been out here for a couple years. I'm born and raised in New York, though. Lived in New York for close to 30 years.
You're still close. So, you know, April 1st.
Takes me a train ride, man. 3 hours. I'm from Westchester, you know, so I'm not
so
too far. 15 minutes away from the Bronx.
Well, if you're free April 1st, you know, NYY News TV, we're having an event with them at Yankee Stadium, you know, in the Audi suites. You know, if you're able to come down, we would love to invite you, bro, and have you down with us, bro.
Appreciate it. Yeah, send me that link over. I'll see if I can swing my way down there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, buddy.
Copy.
Appreciate you, Hector, Jigga, Phil, for bringing me on. Appreciate talking Knicks with you guys. Bro. It's yeah, Chris Joseph. I live in Boston, man. It's tough, but you know what? the rough part out here is that no one really bothers the Knicks like that. You know, Jets just get mocked like it's funny because it's Patriots Nation.
Alex, before you go, bro, I want to ask you one thing, right? And you can leave right after this. But being in Boston, when I went to Salem to visit, as a New Yorker, it was weird for me crossing the street because everyone stopped to let me go. You know, when you're crossing the street in New York, normally as a pedestrian, you let the car go in front of you. But the cars in Boston, they're nice people to stop and let you go. And they will hold up traffic until you cross the street. Is that an experience that you had living in Boston?
Yes, that is like everywhere because they treat pedestrians like they're Jesus over here. So
yeah. I'm glad I'm not the only New Yorker that realized that. Copy.
You know, no, it's like it's crazy, man, because it's like, you know, I'll be driving, my wife will be in the car. She's like, you gotta slow down. I'm like, yo, like they are not even in the crosswalk. Can I just go? Like, but the thing is that they know they have so much power, like pedestrians. Like I do this too sometimes. I'm guilty of this too, just because I know where I live now. I'm like, oh, if you're gonna be doing this, let me take my sweet time crossing the street. So then people are like taking forever to cross the street, and it's like driving around here is just it's crazy. Like they're aggressive when they shouldn't be. They're kind when it's like it's just a mess, man. It's a mess. There was like an Allstate article that was like Boston has like the highest accident rate, where it's like 3.5 someone gets in an accident every 3.5 years. So it's crazy out here. Everyone's got a dent in their car. Everyone's got a dent.
Alex, thank you for answering that question, bro, because that's been bugging me for the past 2 years, bro. But thank you, bro.
Alex, why'd you go to Salem? Why'd you go to Salem? That's the bigger question.
No, we went to Salem around Halloween time. You know,
goodness gracious.
I'm a big time.
Like the most traffic congested day to go.
But that's not it. And Jiggaman would tell you, I'm an avid collector of old school Pokemon games. So I went out there specifically to a game store so I could go buy Pokemon Gold. So I literally went out there just for that one thing about Pokemon.
Yeah, I
Jigga,
love
stop
how.
making fun of me.
No, because I love how you want to say it like, oh, it was during Halloween and everything. Like, make it sound like the Salem experience. And the truth is, it was just the Pokemon game.
Yeah, I literally went out there to get this.
All right, well, let's let Alex out of here. Alex, appreciate you, my guy. Again,
Appreciate
guys,
you,
we
bro.
dropped the link
Appreciate
in
all
there.
you guys.
Of course, you guys know Alex, Knicks Fan TV. If you're not following Knicks Fan TV, then I don't even know how you're watching the show because you don't know what the hell you're doing. Alex, appreciate you, bro. Everybody in the chat, we are going to do the open panel. Check out our event real quick on April 1st.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, run it. Ooh, I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time. Think it's my year. Yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my pen ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem been better. Gotta keep on chugging, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed heavy, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that, it's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up, I'm trying to get it an FT to get them when they're in hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to.
Yeah, and we are back for the open panel. Guys, the link is in the description for the open panel so you guys can come on to the open panel, ask your question. And as well, I'm throwing out there again, the Morning Brew Sports. If you guys can, please help us out because we're streaming right now both on the Nights of DJ YouTube and on top of it, the Morning Brew Sports. So if you're in the chat, right, go over to the Morning Brew Sports so I can make you a moderator over there. I just want to shout out a few of the mods that I made. DSJ, like I said, he's a new mod over there for us. Chris Joseph is a mod over there for us. My man Blood of the Panther is a mod over there for us. Who else I got in here? Sunil. I made Sunil a mod over there for us. But guys, yeah, tune in. Jump in for the open panel so we can have this discussion. But honestly, it was a great conversation with Alex. Phil, what's your thoughts on that, bro?
Yeah, it's cool to see, like we were saying earlier, content creators that are actual fans, people that actually like have a love for the game, a love for the city. Even though he lives out in Boston, that's even more love, that he's living in that animosity and still representing. But it was great having him on. He had some, really great points when it comes to, how we should look at things, even like the Bones Highland thing, like what as great of a player as he could be, like, what does that mean for our rotation? What does that mean for the character of person that's on the bench? Like, is there something going on there? Is it kind of like a Charlotte situation where you have somebody that, is doing stuff in life that doesn't really fit the chemistry of the kind of people that they want on their roster? And so that's something to always look for, is not just the stats. A lot of times we look at stats as what would be best for a team. And there's a lot more that goes into it, so salute to him for those drops of knowledge and those gems.
Yeah, and also too, having a conversation about Mikal Bridges, it's a valid point. Who are we getting rid of? Who are we keeping? And what's the rotation going to be, right? Even with the rotation that I put out there of having a 10-man rotation, we know if Tom Thibodeau is the head coach of this team, we know he's going to stick it to as much of a short rotation as he can to a 9-man rotation. Tom Thibodeau likes to have his rotations. He likes to keep at least one starter on the court with the bench unit, right? So we understand that's the scheme that Tom Thibodeau likes to play. We've seen RJ Barrett be that starter that he leaves with the bench crew and let RJ Barrett ball out. Recently, it was Jalen Brunson when RJ Barrett wasn't available. Jalen Brunson out there with the bench unit, balling out with the bench unit. So that's the philosophy Tom Thibodeau has. He likes to keep at least one starter out there with the bench unit. And what I love of Mikal Bridges, absolutely. The Brooklyn Nets, they're not going to trade with us. And if they are going to trade with us, they're going to want more than anyone else is willing to give up. If they trade with Philadelphia, they'll trade for a smaller package from Philadelphia than they would with us just because we are inner city rivals. They're not going to go out of their way to help make our team better. Just like if you're the Yankees and the Mets, you're not going to go out of your way to trade with the opposing team to make them better for the long run. Maybe a minor deal, a guy that's off the bench at the 15th spot on the bench, maybe that's a possibility. But for a guy like Mikal Bridges, who will be a contributor, I don't think the Nets will make that deal, Phil. What about you?
Yeah. Based off something you said, I saw someone in the chat posted it, and I wish I could find it. But they had talked about how, Tibbs is not an in-game coach whatsoever. He is a planned coach. Like, this is what he plans to do, and this is what it's going to be. And so, like, being that, a 10-man rotation could be a great thing. Agreed. If he's set on 9, it'll be 9, and at that Orlando Magic game, like, a lot of people are like, oh, Tibbs made a good decision, to bring Hartenstein on to help grab that rebound when, Orlando brought seriously every single tall person possible to botch that shot. But I was at the game, and it was the fans that started yelling when we saw, like, those big guys coming in. Tibbs was laser focused on looking at the basket and didn't even notice that they were clearing their bench of their big guys. We all started screaming, bring in Hartenstein. And it was the assistant coaches that grabbed his attention and said, we need to put Hart in. We need to put Hartenstein in now. And Hartenstein ran in order to get before they stopped being able to substitute in, So yeah, Tibbs is so set on, like, this is how I'm going to win the game. This is how I'm going to do. He doesn't even see what the other team is doing. And so if he doesn't see that in the moment, changing his rotation is probably not going to happen, unfortunately. But now it's like even more so. McBride is someone that he has spoken so highly of. So if he would expand that 10-man rotation, it would be for someone that he has considered one of his new guys. But if not, if you see McBride get DNP'd, then that's just truth of the matter that 9-man is all it's going to be for the rest of the season.
Yeah, 100%. But Phil, we're going to close it out right here because I know you got work to that you have to head off and do. We don't got nobody for the open pair, but we're going to close it out right here, my brother Phil. Tonight, the Knicks play Josh Hart tonight. How many minutes do you think we're going to see from Josh Hart, bro? Give me your honest opinion.
If he plays, I think we still see about 20 minutes. I think that he is a proven competitor. And you got to think the 76ers got something to prove tonight. Like, we beat them in that last game when everyone doesn't think that we should have. So I believe the Sixers are going to come in wanting to redeem that loss. So hopefully, if Hart is there, he fits easily into that chemistry, and we see him, help our bench. I'd love to see him and IQ kind of explode off the bench together. But we don't even know if he's available yet. So I guess we'll see. What about you?
Me personally, I just want to see what he adds to this team. I just want to see what the chemistry is going to look like between him, Jalen Brunson, who, he was in college with in Villanova. We talked about it. I just want to see how this looks. Tonight, it's the Sixers we're going against, right? Tonight, we're going against the Sixers. Tonight. Their bench is not the strongest bench in the league. That's their problem. They have a solid starting rotation. They have a solid tandem, and Joel Ortiz, and Joel Embiid and James Harden. Joel Ortiz, one of my favorite rappers. But they have a solid 1-2 pairing with those two. It's just their bench unit that gives them issues. So let's see if we could just keep Joel Embiid and James Harden under control, we'll be able to outlast the Sixers, because that's what happened with us last time. They went up early in the first quarter, and we were able to come back because of their horrible bench unit, bro. So I just want to see how's it going to look with Hart and Brunson out there.
Yeah, and so we do have to realize that they did just also get Jalen McDaniels. So they might be, seeing how he fits into the rotation as well. Pretty decent player. Like, does that help them in any way, shape, or form tonight against us? We'll see, so just another shooter for them, shoots almost 50%. And so we'll see.
Yeah, 100%. Phil, my bro, appreciate you, my guy. People in the chat, if you can, I'm going to put the link again for you guys. If you're watching this on the replay, the link for the new channel is in the description of the video, and comment in the chat section after the video. Let us know what you guys think about these trades. Are you happy that we got Josh Hart? Are you disappointed that the Knicks front office didn't go out there and make another 1, 2, or 3 moves that you wanted to see? Let us know in the chat down below in the comment section after this video go off. But For myself, Hector over here at the Knicks Morning Brew. For my brother Phil Porto over here at the Knicks Morning Brew. And Jiggaman Paul Pots and Pan. We love you all, and we will see you next week. A peace out. What it do, Nick Nation? What it do? KOD Universe, stand up. And all you DJs, wake up and get your coffee.
I'ma slam on these goats like I'm John Starks. I'ma slam on these goats